Ladies and gentlemen, don't you dare be sour. Comment along live with your favorite podcast and feel the power. Welcome to Tables, Ladders, and Podcasts, the only podcast that hustle, loyalty, booty. This is episode 123. I am your host, as always, Poit, and joining me on the panel to discuss the week in WWE, we have Wehrman.
You can tell it's an important episode because I'm wearing my Beth bowling shirt.
And Jabba.
You booty, son.
And Zevon.
I don't have anything clever to say.
Wonderful. How are you gentlemen doing on this lovely International Podcast Day?
I'm alright.
Technically, isn't this a celebration of...
I
Right
guess
now,
so, yeah.
Or...
Celebrate.
It did change my outlook once you told me 5 minutes before the show that it was International Podcast Day.
It's
Feeling
also
much better
International Blasphemy Day if we want to come up with some really offensive jokes.
You mean like episode 1 was the best Star Wars movie?
I'll kill you.
Mike Adamle did a great job.
He did
yeah.
some great jobs. Some not so great, like remembering Jeff Hardy's name.
Alright, so, shall we delve into some news, Wehrman?
Yes, I've got some news all around. For starters, there's been a lot of speculation about Stone Cold Steve Austin stepping back into the ring at WrestleMania 32, potentially to fight Brock Lesnar. However, Austin himself tweeted on Friday morning that this was, quote, bullshit reporting. Austin has also gone on record, repeated multiple times, that he wants Michael P.S. Hayes inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame, and it's been reported that if WWE does not include him this year, especially with WrestleMania being in Texas, which would seem to be the most appropriate time for it, he may not attend Mania at all. So...
I could do without Michael Hayes.
Yeah, I'm not a
How about you?
fan. Never been a big fan of Michael Hayes. I mean, I know the Freebirds were a big deal, but I mean, to hell with them.
Would they even do anything with those now regarding the Hall of Fame because of the whole Confederate flag being draped all over them non-stop?
Yeah, I think that would be a problem. Like, unless they just blur out their costumes every time they show pictures of them.
We could just blur it like the old WWF logos until a couple years ago, so he just looks like a guy running behind a big blur.
They could
Yeah,
call
it
them
could
the
be like
Free
a-
Bloods.
The free blur.
That-
That's as bad as it seems.
Yep. Well, on the subject of Attitude Era stars grabbing up marquee spots to make sure none of the current talent ever gets time in the spotlight, backstage reports claim the current plan for The Rock is that he'll be facing Triple H in one of the show's main events. There have been conflicting reports as to whether it's going to be a singles match or a mixed tag with Stephanie and Ronda Rousey, which, I mean, people have been saying that since this current Mania. But given the potential complications with the UFC, the rumored plan, as it stands, is for Rock and Triple H to go one-on-one. So, yeah.
So, who
Why?
does that help exactly?
It's because WWE is obsessed with their own legacy by making sure that they can't create any new ones.
If you're going to bring The Rock back, he doesn't do that very often. Last time, it was pretty much exclusively Cena-centered. He had that one match with Punk, and he had a tag match against The Miz and Truth, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yes, but that was like months before.
Yeah, but I'm talking about those pretty much the only matches he had in his two comebacks. So why waste him on Triple H?
Well, from what I understand, they want to try and break the WrestleMania 3 attendance record because the Dallas Stadium is gigantic. And they're thinking, like, what is the biggest possible match we could have? It's like,
It's
how
gonna
about
be
a match?
an hour pay-per-view, Michael.
How about a match that was hot in 1997?
Was it?
That'll go over perfectly well in 2016.
It's been aging. It's like it's vintage.
Well, speaking of aging, with Sting almost definitely out of the picture for WrestleMania following his injury at Night of Champions, there have been rumors circulating as to who Undertaker's opponent will be, since that was going to be like the big dream match, and now obviously they can't do it. At one point, a final match with Brock Lesnar was considered, but now that's been moved up for Hell in a Cell for reasons beyond my understanding. Allegedly, there are now 3 potential matches for Undertaker: Seth Rollins, John Cena, or Braun Strowman.
What?
Yeah, right? The champion, the, icon of the last 10 years, or some new guy.
Or a guy who wears a black mask.
Yeah. Although I think if they go with that route, it's more likely that they're going to do like a tag match with like the Wyatt family against Taker and Kane.
I could only get behind the Braun Strowman idea if Strowman loses by DQ for chloroforming the Undertaker.
Just go straight up
Why?
Giant Gonzalez with him.
Yeah, that worked so well for Gonzalez, didn't it?
Oh,
That really
yeah.
got him over big time.
Well, some news not related to wildly guessing about matches at WrestleMania. According to reports, Cody and Dustin Rhodes will be presenting the award to the winner of NXT's Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. As Cody himself has confirmed, he will be appearing without the Stardust gimmick, and it's likely that Dustin will be dropping Goldust for this event as well.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And if they're going to be there in an out-of-character capacity, it's this whole tournament's to commemorate their father, so it makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those, people had been kind of wanting to see Cody again since Dusty, passed, but I do agree with his mentality that he should have, he should stick with Stardust until something comes up. Let's see. As reported on last week's show, Lucha Underground has been confirmed to be getting a second season, although the roster will not be the same in Season 1. For starters, they've cut ties with former TNA star Fernandez. And in much ironically bigger news, the word on the street is that they'll be signing and debuting none other than Rey Mysterio as part of their roster. While this is yet to be confirmed, there's speculation that they want to keep Rey signing a secret in order to keep his debut like a huge surprise.
Now, I'm afraid I've just been distracted by something that Mr. Poit has linked to us, which I think is definitely newsworthy.
What is this?
Oh my.
Oh.
So,
Ew.
WWE.com reported today about Michael Cole's recent weight loss success. He has apparently lost like 60 pounds and gotten pretty lean.
Yeah, he's got like 6% body fat now. And he had like 29. He's actually pretty cut.
That's pretty impressive. I mean, I don't know why. I mean, it's not like he's going to get in the ring and start wrestling again.
And through the
I
miracle
hope
of
not.
technology, I'm going to show the audience exactly what we're talking about.
Oh, man.
Look
These are
at that.
now.
Why am I not seeing that on one of those fraudulent Facebook ads?
Now that you clicked on it.
That is exactly how it looks.
Yeah.
Does this mean he's going to be defending his undefeated record at WrestleMania at some point?
Could be.
I don't know.
Keep that up so that now anytime you talk, it just shows that picture of Michael Cole for the rest of the podcast.
No.
That's probably not going to be a good idea.
Well, let's see. In other news, Democratic presidential candidate Bernie Sanders attended a Latino Heritage Festival in Des Moines, Iowa, because when I think of cradles of Latin American culture, I of course think of Des Moines, Iowa. And while he was there, he sat in on a Lucha Libre demonstration, or more accurately, like there's a video going around. He kind of walks up to a Lucha Libre match with like this "What's all this then?" look on his face, and he stands there for a few seconds before the video cuts out. And every wrestling news outlet I've seen has been like, "Oh my God, Bernie Sanders watches wrestling. It's amazing. Look at him watching Lucha Libre." It's like, he looked at a match for like 10 seconds, and people are like trying to give him like this like wrestling fan street cred now.
By the way, when you said Latino heritage, the first thing that started running through my mind was Latino heritage. Latino heritage.
Hmm.
Come on.
Let's see.
Eddie Guerrero's best ever theme music.
That is debatable at best.
Well, I don't know. I really like that one.
I don't know. The lowrider music he had in WCW was way better than anything he had in WWE. Anyway, let's see. WWE Hall of Famer Tammy Sytch, better known as Sunny, is back in jail. She was arrested for having missed 3 court appearances regarding her previous arrest in May. Sytch is also scheduled for hearings regarding 2 separate DUI arrests from earlier this year. She cannot stay out of jail, apparently.
So, what's more inconsistent, her weight or her level of incarceration?
It's honestly kind of sad to see that she's just fallen so far from grace.
And she's kind of all over the place. One day I'll see something on Facebook like she's lost like 50 pounds and she's back to looking how she was in the 90s, and then the next week, she's ballooned again and she's in jail. What's going on with her?
Pounds and
well,
squats.
apart from getting arrested, she's also like doing Skype porn sessions.
Oh, good for her. Good for her. And those people who are dumb enough to pay.
Well, in other sad and depressing news about things that have fallen from grace since the 90s, Raw's ratings have continued to fall, with this week's episode only drawing an average of 2.33. This is the lowest rating Raw's had since adopting the 3-hour format and back in 2012. And while a significant portion of this can be attributed to competing with Monday Night Football, which always takes a big chunk out of their numbers, this year the decrease in ratings was down by 13.7%. Last year's was only 3.8. So
I'd like to hear what numbers they were getting during Monday Night Football in the Attitude Era.
Significantly more than what they're getting now.
Well, I mean, their numbers without Monday Night Football were better on the Attitude Era than now. So that's
but I mean, compared to their non-football season numbers in the Attitude Era.
Oh, so you want to compare the percent drop-off in the 2 eras?
Yeah, because I would imagine while wrestling was a lot more hip, the particular male demographic that would probably be watching legitimate sport may have stuck around for wrestling back then.
Mm-hmm.
Any other news?
That's all I've got. Point, you got anything for us?
No, the Michael Cole thing was the only bit of news I had.
All right.
I know The Rock's dog died. Posted that on Instagram. That's sad.
Well, that's sad.
Oh.
How much?
Well, on that note, hopefully the week in wrestling can uplift our spirits a bit.
Well, I'm not sure about that, but before we get to that, there is something that can lift our spirits just a little bit, because, as you know, we are now live, so live comments are a thing that we can now accommodate. So, Owen Brown, legendary viewer, of course, legendary viewer now, legendary listener before, first of all he says, whoa, as if he's shocked that we're doing this live, and then he also says, this is his attempt at blasphemy, by the way. He says JBL was the greatest WWE champion of all time. Do we think he's hit the nail on the head there, blaspheming away?
Well, he was the longest reigning champion in SmackDown history.
I don't know, I'm sure that one of the Bellas could take that away in an instant.
If we're going by offensiveness, I would have gone with the Great Khali. Well, no, he was world champion, not WWE champion, but
yeah, and his reign wasn't that long.
It was on SmackDown, so tomato.
That Great Khali reign was quite funny though, because he lost decisively twice to John Cena, and then moved over to the other show and immediately won the world title.
Yep.
What did that tell you about their priorities back then?
Isn't that how SmackDown works?
Sadly.
That's how basically all of WWE works. You come into some hype and fanfare, you get destroyed by John Cena, and then you wallow in the mid-card for the rest of your career.
Speaking of which, our first talking point, the Demon Kane.
Ah, god damn it.
He's back. He's more demonic than ever. Are we scared yet, guys? Are we trembling at the very sight of this hellish demon?
I want to give them my teddy bear and just tell them to go to bed. Just take this and go away. This is stupid.
It's stupid, but I like that Kane is owning it. You know what I mean? Like he knows it's dumb, so he might as well have fun with it.
I am enjoying it for the absurdity of it.
Yeah. That's the thing I've always loved about Kane. Kane is always like, his attitude towards whatever stupid crap they give him is always, yeah, why not? I mean, it's not like anyone is ever going to take Kane seriously as a main event, like, threat to the world title again. because it's 2015 and he hasn't been like a major player since like 2000.
He did have that one period where he beat The Undertaker and he was the world champion for a few months.
Yeah,
he
on
was-
SmackDown.
And
That seemed
also,
like it was going to be his farewell run, though, didn't it?
he also had another world championship reign after cashing in Money in the Bank.
Yeah, but those were all on the B show. Like
And
now that
sure.
there's only one title again, does anyone anywhere think that they're going to give Kane another run with it?
Probably not.
So, I mean, if he's never going to be, a serious contender and he doesn't really have to worry about the importance of his brand, why not have some fun? Why not just do some stupid crap to entertain yourself?
It's a lot more fun than the previous main event little feuds he had, if you think about the ones with John Cena and Daniel Bryan.
Christ. Yeah, where he was trying to make Cena embrace the hate.
Yeah, that went somewhere, didn't it?
Hmm.
And then he was trying to kidnap the Bellas when he was against
You don't
Daniel
remember
Bryan.
that.
You remember, he was in the limo or something, or he reached in through the top of the car and kidnapped a Bella or two.
What happened? I kidnapped a Bella.
They're
Doesn't
kind of
really matter
interchangeable.
which.
It was just one of those times when they suddenly decided, oh, the Demon Kane is scary again now. For that one episode of Raw when Daniel Bryan was running away, trying to protect his wife. It was just after he won the title at Mania.
Right.
So this Demon Kane incarnation is a bit more entertaining than the previous ones, but still not at all credible when it comes to
I don't
World
know. I don't
Championship
think Seth
aspirations.
Rollins would consider this incarnation to be more entertaining than scary.
Jabba, can you do me a favor?
No.
Give me the link to add a person to this conversation.
Who are we bringing in?
Just trust me. Trust me.
Trust you? I don't know. Can you trust a Dudley?
Never trust a Dudley.
You can with the table.
Well, you know what? I'm just going to go for it. If it's terrible, I'm just
Live.
going to immediately end the live broadcast.
Oh, well, I'm going to tell you this. This person's terrible, but you all know who it is.
Narc?
No.
Well, in that case, I have absolutely no idea, and you should be terrified of
I
me.
assumed it was going to be Narc. Okay. So, like, this whole Kane thing being, like, effectively a completely different person when he's a demon as opposed to when he's corporate. Like, he has, like, different HP meters for each form, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And I'm enjoying that. Like, it is harkening back to the less serious days of wrestling, the less real days of wrestling.
Well, it reminds me of like when Foley tried to be like all three of his different personalities in the Royal Rumble.
Mhm.
And, like, Dude Love would get thrown out, and then like a few minutes later, Mankind would come out and get thrown out, and then Cactus Jack would come out and get thrown out.
As an aside, Cody Rhodes needs to do that one year.
Yes, I want to see him like morph in and out of being Stardust.
I feel like you could decapitate Corporate Kane and just completely cut all his body into tiny pieces, throw all the pieces into a room, close the door, and then when you open it again, there'll be smoke pouring out and he just walks out and attacks you. That's how it feels to me.
I think hacking Corporate Kane into pieces might cause an HR complaint.
It could do.
Speaking of, okay, you can just call HR on people in wrestling now?
Apparently.
Where was this when, like, the big boss man was killing people's dogs and making them eat their flesh?
No, that's not. It's not an HR complaint that can be lodged like between wrestlers. This is between people within the authority, within WWE.
Okay, but, I mean, like, we've seen wrestlers attempt to literally murder non-wrestlers on the show multiple times.
And sometimes there are lawsuits.
What about that time the authority decided it was time to take Randy Orton out back and put a bullet in him, or however they worded it?
Yeah, could they... Christ.
Telling me you blame them?
I think this is going to come up about as often as the referees check the instant replay.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think we need to worry too much about that right now.
Well, it's like the sometimes existing board of directors.
Or every time there's not an authority figure?
Yeah, or like Yeah, when they're when the evil authority figures have overstepped their bounds and there's no good authority figure to balance them out, someone will come out and say, "Well, the board of directors did this instead."
The good old board of directors. So, shall we move on to our next talking point? This is this topic of John Cena telling people to get serious. Does he have any room to talk on this issue whatsoever?
Yeah, Mr. Photoshop Funnies. The guy who's like, I'm fighting a man who is literally possessed by a demon and his cult of terrifying swamp monsters. I'm going to make funny pictures of them as fat people and babies to show how serious I am.
He's also the guy that there's nothing but freaking vines and memes going around about how stupid it is. Like what was it? I just saw one where it was Jack Nicholson from The Shining, and he does the whole "Here's Johnny," and then it goes John Cena in the background. Like, how can you take that person serious ever?
Yeah. Or anytime he reacts to a hostile crowd, he'll drop some smarky bullshit on them about oh, I guess I should just unleash my heelish persona and do the 5 moves of doom. Brr, brr, brr. And this guy is telling the entertaining guys on the show that now it's time to be serious.
And did you actually hear how he worded it as well? He said, "There's a time to entertain," and I was just thinking, that's got to be coming up pretty soon, hasn't it, John?
So, as an aside, it was nice to actually see Xavier Woods, wrestling.
It was actually, but I did miss the trombonery on the outside.
I didn't bring that up. Is there any reason why he is the one that never wrestles? Because he's actually really good in the ring, and he's entertaining. Do they just think Kofi and Big E can't entertain as much?
I think it's just that they want to push the New Day as a tag team, and they don't really know what to do with Xavier. It's like when when Roman and Rollins were tag team champions forever, and Dean Ambrose wasn't doing anything.
Oh, come on, he was standing there not defending the U.S. title.
And he's all sitting that. Well, the way they build them is that they're all 3 the tag team champions. So they use the Freebird rule technically for them anyways. So
they did that in their first reign. I don't know if they're doing that for this one, because they seem to have dropped it.
I don't know.
He hasn't actually been in any of the matches. If one of them got injured, though, I imagine he would just step in.
Yeah.
They would bring that back. But I think it's not a knock on Kofi, but he is the one that has to be involved in matches, I would say, especially if it's a tag match. Because Mr. Woods has got his trombonery and his loudmouth, and he's very entertaining on the outside. Big E and his dancing antics and his gyrating and rhythmic pelvic thrusts and all that stuff, that's actually entertaining. So I think those two are carrying the entertainment factor. So if you're going to have a tag team, it has to contain Kofi at all times, I would say.
Sure.
So,
though it would have been rather nice if any of the announcers knew the names of any of Xavier Woods' finishers.
Oh God, I don't know what his finisher is.
Well, there was the Lost in the Woods and the Honor Roll. I don't know if he's changed their names since
I thought those were the same thing.
No, Lost in the Woods was the Eat Defeat, where he.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. I was really hoping they would call it Eat Defeats. That would have been quite funny. So, our next talking point. We had another inconclusive main event finish, but possibly the bigger points. The ending was actually interesting and quite brutal, but how many people had already turned off their TV by this stage and missed it?
Yeah, I feel like...
Go ahead,
Go ahead. I feel like Raw needs more of these. Instead of trying to promote wrestling with the same wrestling, have a big pull-apart brawl that, gives us a taste of what we're going to see at the pay-per-view, but isn't the exact same thing that we're going to see at the pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, it gives you that chaotic, anything-can-happen feel that Raw hasn't had in, 12 years, maybe.
If they do a big chaotic ending like this every, say, 2 or 3 weeks, I would definitely get behind that. Because
I mean,
as it is now, like you see, what they advertise as their main event, and most of the time you can just, assume what's going to happen and be right.
Granted, you don't want to overdo it because you don't want to end up being like Nitro, where every week you end in like a big pull-apart brawl and Shivani's all like, Sting's here, we're all out of time, good night.
Yeah, that's why I said like 2 or 3 weeks. Maybe make it more sparse than that.
But were people still tuned in at this point in the show? Because they advertised a match that we've seen multiple times recently. You can probably assume, because of the way the show was going, that it was going to have multiple run-ins during the match, and that it wouldn't really have any kind of ending. In a 3-hour show, you put an exciting end in an unexpected place. I think that's a bad choice.
They need to go back to 2 hours. I would even say they might consider going to 1 hour, because, I mean...
No.
Well, I mean, the audience just doesn't have the attention span for it anymore.
I would say 3 hours to 2 hours. They were perfectly fine with 2 hours because they had better content on the actual program if it were 2 hours, because they were forced to throw away all this stupid shit that they have. So I would say 1 with just sponsorship, corporate sponsorship and everything. There's really no way that they're going to go down to 1 hour. It's not.
Yeah.
You just wait and they'll announce the first ever 6-hour WrestleMania this year.
Oh my god, I can't do that.
4-hour pre-show starring Booker T only.
So, a question for you guys. Could it potentially be a good thing that there was this unexpectedly good ending to Raw? Could that possibly encourage people to watch till the end in future weeks?
I hope so. I hope they keep doing. I hope they keep doing stuff that makes me want to watch the show more. I mean, this shouldn't be something where we should be speculating. Like, I shouldn't be saying, "Boy, I hope I want to watch the show."
It shouldn't be a one-off. Every single segment should leave you wanting to see more of these wrestlers interacting with each other. And how many of them succeeded in that on Raw?
Maybe 1, maybe 2.
Yeah, I can say I wanted to see the New Day and the Dudleys in a table match at some point. So I want to see where they go.
I would also like to see the rest of the Divas Revolution story with Paige and Natalya, because that just seems to be like taking weeks to tell a single week of story.
It's taking a long time and it's not very good.
Well,
unfortunately. Should we just talk about the Divas Revolution now?
Yeah,
sure.
Let's go ahead.
Because the great line I have for this one is, "Hold the front, Paige." That's right. There's a diva heel turn again. She turns heel twice in 2 weeks. What is the record for consecutive weeks of heel turning, by the way? Was it set by The Miz?
This is driving me insane. This is like everything I hate about Raw all rolled into 1 or 2 segments. First of all, we've destroyed any potential for the whole Divas Revolution by just rolling it up as all women are jealous whores. Solidified by The Miz coming out and basically just saying all women are jealous whores again. We have a thrown-together tag team match that means nothing. Paige turns on her tag team partner again because the audience at home is too stupid to figure it out.
Well, look what the cat dragged in.
Oh, hey. I guess my anger and rage at the world summoned our long-lost partner here.
I just have a ringing in my ears every time somebody starts talking about the Demon Cane, and so I just had a sense, and it just started ringing off, and it was so unbearable. God, I've been stuck in that narc tank for like 4 months, guys. I almost died.
Yeah, I was about to say, how did you make it out of there alive?
I had some backup rations that I was using for a long time, but
you were in there so long you came out portrait.
So, guys, I have a bit of news that we forgot to cover earlier. It's very important. In accordance with the wellness policy, Hornswoggle has been suspended for 30 days.
Oh, I saw that. Isn't that the coolest thing ever?
Okay, what I want to know is, how is this only his first violation of the wellness policy?
I'm gonna go with 2. He was still under contract?
Yeah, I honestly forgot he still works there.
Is it wrong that I think if you're a midget, you should just be allowed to do drugs all the time legally?
Probably.
I don't understand the logic there whatsoever.
Does it say what drugs he was caught doing?
It does not say.
Was he possibly smuggling steroids somewhere for Michael Cole?
I really hope it was HGH. That would be so awesome.
You thought it was gonna make him taller.
Imagine if he was just doing drugs under the ring at every event.
That's what he's doing the entire event. He's
That's like whenever Kane or Undertaker drag someone to hell and smoke comes up from under the ring. It's not like demon fire or anything. It's just Hornswoggle.
Would you be surprised to see him come back in 3 months, absolutely jacked out of his mind from steroids, and then he beats Bo Dallas on Raw?
I would not be surprised at the last part.
So, before we get back to our talking points, I feel like we should give a little interrogation to Mr. Narc here. He's finally found his way out of the Narc tank. He's missed 30 episodes in a row. So, have you actually been watching wrestling recently?
I'm going to tell you, I watched the last pay-per-view, and then before that, I hadn't been watching too much at all. But I am somewhat current, and I do know about current superstars, like Kevin Owens. Yeah, Intercontinental Champion. That's all I know. And then I know the Demon King because of the aforementioned sense.
Did you watch Raw this week?
I did not. No.
All right. Well, I'm glad you're here to contribute to the discussion.
Just chime in when you feel like you can add something of worth.
Oh, I'm gonna do it.
You go nuts. Right, our next talking point. Does anybody out there believe that the Big Show has any chance, despite being a 450-pound giant who once pinned Brock Lesnar in the middle of a feud where he lost about 18 times? Does anyone believe he can beat the Beast?
No.
This is such an enormous waste of time, and the fact that we're doing it instead of something more interesting makes me genuinely angry. Okay, that whole promo where where Big Show is saying to Paul Heyman that Brock Lesnar is scared of the Big Show. Were you not present the last time they fought and Brock annihilated him?
It was kind of one-sided.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be awesome, though, if... I was thinking maybe they could kind of reference the fact that Paul Heyman jumped ship to Big Show at one point, or maybe just
they should have.
Hey,
and they didn't.
You on my side, or?
That would have been something interesting to add, but unfortunately, no.
I mean,
by the way, that was a 7-minute match. It was probably the best six story they've ever told in a 6 or 7-minute match. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Someone was injured going into that match, weren't they? And that's why they had to run it like that.
Yeah.
That was when Big Show was wearing that ridiculous outfit. I mean, how would you even describe what he was wearing?
He's had a lot of ridiculous outfits over the years.
It was like he just got home from work and took off his shirt. And that was it. Would it have killed someone like Ryback or Cesaro to lose a match to Brock Lesnar?
That is what drives me nuts. We could have had Brock and Cesaro, but, yeah, and that would have been a way better story. I mean, yeah, nobody really thinks Cesaro is going to win, but he can have a really strong showing.
Here's the whole story.
And, hell, I mean, you've already got it built in that Cesaro is a former Paul Heyman guy. So there's that, but... why invest in your company's future when you could instead roll the dice again on a guy who hasn't been over since 1999?
I can understand them not doing it with Ryback because you could actually envisage them saving that. Because Ryback is a big guy, he's the big guy. And you would imagine they do have hopes of one day getting him to a level where he could face off with Lesnar in a big built-up match. But Cesaro, he probably exists to put people over for the rest of his career. So it wouldn't harm him at all getting in there with Lesnar.
No.
I just don't like that they put Kane and Big Show in the main event at the same exact time.
Yeah. And what drives me nuts is that it's basically for a house show. Like this, like, Beast on the East Coast or whatever the hell they're calling it, like the Brock Lesnar in Madison Square Garden. It's not like a scheduled pay-per-view. This is just something you're doing on the network. It might as well just be a house show. So what is the harm in having somebody who could actually benefit from a losing effort against Lesnar? I mean, hell, in Tokyo they had him fight Kofi Kingston.
If they're interested in showcasing all the big guys from that particular era in main event spots right now, why don't they just have the Yeti come back and challenge John Cena for the US title?
Oh, God.
And then RoboCop will come down and make the save.
That would actually be kind of fun. If they got a deal so they could get the new RoboCop to come down.
Oh, yeah.
Wouldn't that be
Yeah,
something?
if they just have, like, the Wyatt family turn into the old-school Dungeon of Doom.
Speaking of big guys who've got nothing left to offer the business, how about Mark Henry?
What about him?
Was it sad just seeing him being put down on Raw by the Big Show?
Mark Henry has exactly two settings. Either he's an unstoppable machine of destruction, or he's the easiest person in the world to beat.
Yeah, there was one time where he was just doing like the generic "I'm a really strong guy" thing, like when he came back and he was wearing like the blue singlet, where like Christian was just beating him on Raw, and like it was weird. Like every once in a while, they'll just be like, you could be a jobber. They do it with Big Show too, and Kane. It's a weird thing.
And they wonder why nobody buys it when they start pushing him again. Like,
So actually, Mark Henry recently he did an interview recently talking, and one of the things that came up is potentially him retiring at some point soon. And he said that when he does retire, he wants to go out in a retirement match against Daniel Bryan.
I would be down for that if Bryan is cleared to wrestle.
Yeah.
I mean, I know he says he's good to wrestle, but I don't know.
Did he specify whose retirement match it was going to be?
It would be Daniel Bryan causing Mark Henry to retire.
Okay, good.
He talked about how Bryan is one of his favorite wrestlers, yada, yada, yada.
That could have been an awesome WrestleMania feud a couple years ago. I've said it 1,000 times, but I really do think so. But they didn't do it.
Well, I mean, I assume they're going to set up Daniel Bryan and Sheamus again.
Right, because when someone comes back from like a year-long injury, you put him in a feud with the guy who injured him.
How does Sheamus manage to be in endless, pointless feuds with everybody on the roster? It's impressive.
I don't get it.
They gave him the Money in the Bank title and said, contract, and we're like, just do something with this. Here you go, take it.
They can't juggle storylines, but they can juggle multiple pointless, boring feuds for Sheamus.
Like,
Threads that just run through over the years.
fought Randy Orton and Randy Orton. All right.
You know how every SummerSlam is at the Staples Center now? They should just do a thing where every single WrestleMania, Daniel Bryan faces Sheamus.
Oh, God.
It's just like,
no.
we'll just do a giant anniversary of it every year.
So before we move on to the next point, Owen Brown has left a couple more comments in the live audience interaction box to the right of the video if you're watching.
I'll be marking out right now.
Ooh.
Here's what he has to say about Paige and her multiple heel turns. He says that she's still 7,849 behind Alicia Fox.
Yeah, she's got a long way to go.
That sounds a little bit excessive.
I don't know. Maybe she's been turning heel at house shows as well.
At least she's
Could be.
still like 18 concussions behind as well, though. So we're good.
Yeah.
Well, that's just mean, isn't it?
Don't
So-
blame me.
Shall we move on? Here's a talking point I've got for you. If you remember back in the day when the Dudleys would do the What's Up, back when it was
Yes.
kind of still only 5 years after being relevant, then when Devon would go for it, the referee was always distracted, either by the opponent tag team partner trying to get into the ring and the referee holding him back, or the referee just being out of the picture somehow. But now he just does a headbutt to the groin in full view of the referee, and the ref just stands there.
Yeah.
What's going on? What's the deal with that?
It's because
they're-
they're legends and nobody
Yeah.
really cares about the rules when legends are around.
Well, you know how like Bob Holly, like he used to kick people in the midsection and kick people like low or whatever, but like the referee would always be like, "Oh yeah, it was good," like because it wasn't like on the ball bag or whatever. Maybe the referee's just looking really closely. He's like, "Nope, that was under."
No, that was the inner thigh. That was not the.
Yeah.
That was clearly a kick to the penis and not the testicles. You're good.
Well, Devon's forehead has been making serious contact with multiple
shaft.
shall we say.
Multiple yam bags.
Yes.
Maybe they're just headbutting the taint. I don't know.
And Devon's got a crazy forehead now, so
If we make it to another
He looks
wrestling
like a
show and the
Klingon.
Dudleys are there, we need to start a Yambag City chant. When
he
gets
does.
that headbutt.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, moving on. Our next talking point. Now, I'm not sure how much we'll have to say on this, but it's worth bringing up anyway. Did anyone know of this dancing for kids with cancer thing until it was on Raw?
No.
I had not heard of it at all.
Hmm.
They were talking about it like it was this big social media craze.
I don't know. What was that?
I don't know.
I think somebody was doing some browsing there.
That was-
at you, Zevon.
News items and then automatic video plays. My bad.
Zevon!
Yeah.
Close the browser! So is anyone going to dance for kids with cancer?
I don't know. I'll donate.
I would. I don't know. Wait, do you have to actually dance? Oh no. I was like, now that you're gonna hold me to it, no.
I was saying, is it like the ice bucket thing where you have to like donate money or do this? Because I mean, I'll just donate money.
I think you have to dance and then nominate somebody.
So
I'll
it's the
do
ice bucket thing again.
So I'm not doing
I'll do it unless somebody actually checks to see if I do it or not. Then I'm
Well,
not.
how about we all do it through Tout?
Oh yeah. No, I did
Is
that like.
Tout still a thing?
Nope.
Don't
That was
tell the
the joke.
people that. Okay, next talking point. The Cosmic King, King Barrett. He's back. I
Is
don't
he
care.
better than ever?
No, he's not. In fact, he's looking a little bit worse than ever. Does
Oh.
anyone else care about Mr. Barrett?
No.
How many times have they dropped the ball on that guy?
I think he's got more balls on his head than Devon right now.
Well, it's interesting that he seems to be going after Stardust. I mean, it makes sense given how Stardust betrayed him, but we might get, an actual interesting heel-on-heel feud.
No.
Giving
No.
them
Stardust
too
is
much
just
credit there.
Stardust is just going to beat him, and then he's going to go back to wrestling Neville from now until the rest of eternity.
Imagine a stable versus stable feud, the Cosmic Wasteland versus King Barrett's Court.
That would,
Why do I like next year? I feel like Cody Rhodes is just like he's going to be an evil sorcerer, and then the next year he's going to be a pirate, and then the next year he's going to be an astronaut.
That would be amazing.
He's gonna be a mark.
I want Cody Rhodes' gimmick from now on just to be like little kids' Halloween costumes.
And he just tries them on for a whole year.
Yeah, now he's like a bedsheet ghost, and the next year he's going to be a Power Ranger.
If you ask me, there's only one possible course of action that could lead to Wade Barrett being relevant again. And he was only relevant once, and to recapture that magic, what we have to do is have him sniffing around NXT for a few weeks, and then have him appear on Raw, and suddenly a swarm of NXT people that he's recruited into a new age nexus swarm the ring.
I have been wanting a new Nexus for ages. I don't know if Barrett's the guy for it, though. I would
I'm
say
not sure whether he's necessarily the best choice for the angle, but it's the best choice for his career, definitely.
I would love to see Kevin Owens leading a new Nexus. That would be amazing.
Yeah, I mean, do you really want a new Nexus though? After what they did to the last one, I mean, they
Well,
had
give
so
them a chance to mess it up again,
As long as they keep them far, far away from John Cena.
which they wouldn't, sadly.
Yeah, I mean, but okay, have like
9-on-1.
Kevin Owens as their leader and like Baron Corbin as like their heavy hitter, and then like either Blake and Murphy or the Mechanics as their tag team.
yeah. I mean, I just don't think like anyone would like be afraid of the name Nexus anymore. If they're like, we're the new Nexus, and we're like, John Cena killed you guys.
The new Nexus.
No, we're not like those other guys.
So,
How about the first
on the
night they come out and they break both John Cena's legs?
So on the subject of things that Stardust may be wearing in the future, he actually, a couple of weeks ago, tweeted out some images saying that he was talking to his tailor about some changes to his wardrobe, and those pictures included Skeletor, the Road Warriors, and M. Bison.
All of those sound incredible.
Oh, so I just made that joke, but that's actually going to happen now.
Yes.
Possibly.
It'll probably just be M. Bison for a year and a half.
If he starts doing like a springboard Psycho Crusher, I am down.
That actually sounds really cool.
Can he make a joke appearance as E Honda as well?
I don't think he has the mass for that.
No. That's the point. That's the joke. He's just gonna
Okay.
be a skinny guy.
He could do a Liu Kang costume and do the bicycle kick.
Okay, let's stop fantasy booking Cody Rhodes into doing moves that defy physics.
We could do a special podcast just on that topic if you like. So,
Fantasy.
What do you think, live TLP audience?
yeah, what do you think?
Which
All
90s,
of you.
which 90s fighting game character do you want to see Cody Rhodes become next?
Ooh,
Uh-oh.
Did we? Oh,
Okay, next up, Ryback. He's a big fan of three-ways, by the looks of it, because he's getting himself into another one now, isn't he?
Good for him.
oh man,
feel like-
what I missed.
the Intercontinental title has just been such a and all the rest belt, like ever since Daniel Bryan went down again. It's like, okay, who do we have that we're not doing anything with? I don't know, screw it. Put him in the Intercontinental title feud.
Yeah, it is really weird because when they unified those belts and there was only one world champion, it seemed like the Intercontinental Championship was going to come back somehow, and they just managed to fuck that up really badly.
Yeah, well,
so
I mean,
now
well-
there's still no mid card.
Well,
there
they
is
even
more of a mid card than there was. But.
Well, like the original idea, you had John Cena with the U.S. title doing the U.S. Open, which ended up being really cool. And then I think the idea was you were going to have Daniel Bryan as the Intercontinental champion, having these like really intense 5-star matches. And then Bryan went down, and they had no idea what to do with the Intercontinental title after that.
Yeah.
If you think back to about 15 years ago, I know that was a pretty sweet time, but everybody was in some kind of division, a championship division that actually suited them. Like you had the hardcore division, and you had like the misfit type guys in there, like your Ravens and your Steve Blackman. And then you had the European title, and there was a specific kind of wrestler that tended to fight for it. Guys on the level of Al Snow and Perry Saturn, those kind of guys. Then the next level, Intercontinental title. Whereas now it just seems like you're either world title challenger or you're an absolute nobody, which means you can go for the Intercontinental title.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I don't like how you can't be like a good low card wrestler. I mean, there used to be guys who were on the lower card, but you never thought that they were like absolute disgraces or whatever. They couldn't have a match or anything like that.
I mean, there were absolute disgraces on the roster, like the Mean Street Posse.
Yeah, there was. And
But
like
that was-
Ryan
but,
Todd
like,
But they were
here.
like second tier of guys. Like you would call, to be honest, I'd call Cesaro, Dolph Ziggler, all those people made in that mold. Basically, like you could see them possibly making the jump, but they are not going to because they're going to be held back by someone somewhere.
yeah, like that should be the Intercontinental division. The guys who like you want to start paying attention to. This should be like these guys are going to be a really big deal next year. That should be the Intercontinental division.
Like, you know, they could challenge for the title any time while they're holding that belt as well. That's how it used to be back in the day, like when the Ultimate Warrior had it and went for the world title.
Yeah, nowadays it is really just the creative has nothing for you title.
It is kind of weird to look now at everything because how NXT is and like the NXT champion is more popular than most of the guys on the low card and a lot of the guys on the mid card on the actual roster.
Yeah,
So
and the NXT women's title and the NXT tag titles are far bigger than anything except for the WWE title. Like,
And
when Bayley
generally-
I would
when
say that
Bayley won the women's title,
like the
it was a
IC.
huge deal. Who gives a shit about Ryback being even Kevin Owens being Intercontinental Champion?
you get more chance on the main show for Sasha Banks on episodes that she's not even on than you do for most of the guys on the roster who are actually part of the show.
I mean, the Kevin Owens thing makes me give more of a shit about the Intercontinental title, but I mean, like, still not by much. I don't view it as, like, I view it as him, like, taking a step down, you know? It's not, he's not going to elevate it up, I don't think, because I don't think
I would
they're
say-
He couldn't win Cena's title, so he goes for the other.
Yeah,
the
I
other
feel
one.
like this is not a benefit for Kevin Owens so much as it is a benefit for the Intercontinental title because hey, somebody we like has it. Like, Owens himself gains nothing from it.
So before we move on to our NXT talking points, let's delve into the amusing lines of commentary, crowd chants, and so on. Mr. Poit, you had a smile etched across your
Yes.
face there.
Unfortunately, due to some computer issues, I lost most of the ones I took note of. However, I do still have some from the opening match of NXT.
Oh, good. Well, give us those.
Which, this match, by the way, was Eva Marie versus Carmella.
Oh, god damn it.
5-star classic.
The crowd chanted, first off, Eva can't kick out, referencing, obviously, her previous match. And also, all botch everything, and Super Dragon.
I always like a good Super Dragon chant.
You say it,
The
I'll watch
all botch everything and Super Dragon chants ended up becoming chants.
Okay, I'll watch everything is a hilarious chant.
What I love, okay,
It'd
I
been
wonder
fun-
how Super Dragon feels about the fact that people chanting his name has become like the universal catch-all for I am so bored that I will chant for literally anything else.
Yeah, the only ones I have.
I would take it.
There
be
was
that
a
guy.
little girl in the audience when the Big Show was out there talking to Paul Heyman, and as they were leaving, then she just shouted out, "Brock Lesnar's better than you," at the Big Show. And I thought that was quite funny because it was very
I
audible.
mean, she's
and
not wrong.
Also, this was just a line of conversation in a backstage segment, but when Kane presented the box to Seth Rollins and he opened it, and then Kane just said, "It's your severed head." That was possibly the best line he's ever delivered in his life.
Am I the only one that... I can't be the only one that hates the Kane mask that looks like somebody just poured wax all over his face.
Yes, I like ever since he brought it out, it has just been like I've always thought that thing looks like a fruit roll-up.
I love the current Kane mask.
It totally does. It looks like he worked at the Maker's Mark factory and like fell into the wax like head first.
I feel like part of having his face covered when he wouldn't talk, and like you'd tell his character and what he was thinking just by like the way he turned his head or like shook yes or no. That was literally an integral like part of his character.
Yeah,
I think-
because back then he was like Jason Voorhees.
If you really wanted to be scary with what he's trying to do now, you would do something like that. Like have him come back where, think of it this way, you could have technically someone else under the mask because you wouldn't have to hear his voice. So you could
Yeah,
literally
but I mean,
do more.
they've already done that, and it was awful.
But for like, no, what I'm saying is for like TV purposes, like if they did something where, yeah, it's still going to be him in all the matches or whatever, but say they took and had someone like when Seth was being super paranoid about it being him. So imagine like if they put him in the ambulance and then all of a sudden someone in the mask walks by.
What I actually thought they were going to do, which would have been amazing, was when they closed the door to the ambulance, they could have had that pre-filmed and then had the Demon Kane come up through the ring. That would have been amazing.
Wait. But they... So how would he get under the ring if he?
There are ways they could have done it. They could have like backed an ambulance down to the ring and had a hole in the bottom of it, so he could have rolled out under the ring.
Or
That would have been a lot of fun.
literally just do what he used to do and have the lights go completely dark, and then just have his ring pyro go off and he's there.
Yeah, just darkness and then he just sprints out.
If he started talking with the voice modulator again, and everyone was like, "Dude, we know you can talk," and like he just keeps on doing it.
Suck it.
Hello, my name is Tim. We're like, dude, we just talked to you like 5 minutes ago.
Especially if it only went in demon
It would
mode.
at least give
that.
him like more difference between Demon Kane and regular Guy Kane.
So, shall we move on to our NXT discussion?
Really
Yes.
creepy. Weird.
So, Mr. Poit, as our resident NXT expert and enthusiast, would you like to guide us through it?
Certainly. So some incredibly boring guy at WWE headquarters gave us an update on the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. I don't know what this guy's problem was, but he had like no excitement in his voice whatsoever. Anyways, Baron Corbin and Rhino have defeated Gargano and Ciampa.
Big surprise.
No, not a surprise. Oh, wait, sorry, that one already happens. Jason Jordan and Chad Gable defeated the Hype Bros. And in a surprise upset, the Mechanics defeated the tag team champions, the Vaudevillains.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I haven't watched NXT in a while. Could you explain the mechanics to me?
The Mechanics are the name for Scott Dawson and Dash Wilder.
Oh, okay. So Scott Dawson's I've always liked Scott Dawson.
Yeah,
Hey,
they've got like a. They're a
Yeah,
lot like the Brainbusters, like Arn Anderson's old team,
Very much.
and they have a really cool finish. It's
You mean the 3D into a code breaker?
Hold on, let's all do the Wehrman. Oh, now he's gone completely. Okay, we can stop.
wait, okay. Is everyone still here?
Yes.
So
You temporarily left this
Okay.
plane. I think you maybe slipped into a narc tank for a few minutes.
Oh,
sounds
yeah, I do
painful.
that from time to time.
Just do that until you talk. Just
The Narc tank's not even there anymore. That thing
Okay,
got
so
repoed.
anyways,
They couldn't make payments on it.
in
I was
other
walking by.
Tag Team Classic news, a match that was hyped up a whole bunch for tonight's episode, we are going to see Finn Balor and Samoa Joe versus Enzo and Cass.
That should be fun, at least.
Yes.
Yep.
And I am very sad that I am looking at this tournament bracket on Wikipedia and already know who won that before seeing it.
Aw.
Why would you do that, Wikipedia?
Man. Well, I mean, this is one of those. I really feel like there's got to be like a heel turn in this. Like something's gonna happen. Enzo and Cass are gonna win, and then Samoa Joe's gonna turn on Finn, and then they have a title match.
So what have they been doing with Joe? It's just been him and Finn Balor?
He and Finn are tag team partners in the Tag Team Classic,
Yeah.
and there seems to be only a tiny bit of friction between them so far.
Yeah, like Joe is suspiciously friendly.
Yeah. Just like, hey man, want to touch my towel?
Whoa,
Suspiciously friendly.
No, that's a Chad Gable thing right there.
Wasn't suspiciously friendly the tag team name for Cade and Murdoch when they were trying to befriend the Hardys back in the day?
It should have been.
Should have been. Now,
Um,
before you go on to the next point, Owen Brown has been chiming in again in the live comment section. He is just owning that live comment box there. He says, I don't think we should reference Ryback in 3 ways.
Why not?
I don't know.
Fair enough.
Oh,
I don't see what the problem is, Mr. Brown. If you're not
He seems to be quite happy taking 2 dudes at once. So, you know, more power for him.
He does. Well, he does say feed me more.
Yeah.
So,
So in other NXT news, Eva Marie, I mentioned her match with Carmella. They played off her her recent inability to kick out of pins by having a pin near the ropes where she got her leg up on the rope, but the camera didn't show that. And so it looked like the referee was just stopping to count the pin again. But everyone in the crowd could see that she had her leg on the ropes and still booed anyways.
Yeah, I think this is them doing their best to try and take lemons and make lemonade. If we can't just fire Eva Marie, we might as well make her incompetence a gimmick.
It's kind of like when they turned Maria into an idiot.
When?
Was that when she was dating Dolph Ziggler?
It may have been, but she made a few verbal blunders, shall we say, and then she started doing them intentionally as part of a gimmick then. So maybe they're going to do that with Eva Marie, but in the ring. So she's just going to intentionally break people's necks.
Gotcha.
Can you imagine Eva Marie doing a reverse Hurricane Rana off the top rope?
No.
No, she would kill herself, her opponent, and at least 5 or 6 people in the crowd.
She would kill everyone in the arena and everyone watching at home.
Imagine her doing that while the opponent is supposed to be falling to the mat. Sabu leaps off 4 consecutive chairs to land on them with a barbed wire cane or something.
Where did Sabu come into this?
Because we were talking about botches.
Okay.
I'd say, what, does the CZW show just break out around them?
Let's see. In other news, Tyler Breeze cheats to defeat Bull Dempsey, and then seems to be starting a bit of a feud with Apollo Crews.
And of course you have to cheat to beat Bull Dempsey. How else are you going to beat the guy? Bull!
He's bullfit.
Exactly.
Yep. I kind of like that.
God, we need to show Narc the bullfit video. Sorry.
Oh yeah. Well, Tyler Breeze he's definitely in this funk, right? He keeps pestering William Regal, get me a good opponent for Brooklyn, and he gives him Jushin Liger, and he loses. And then he wants to be part of the Tag Team Classic, so he gets Bull Dempsey as a partner, and he loses. And now he wants to fight Bull Dempsey, and he almost loses. And he's just it's not like the typical bad guy on a losing streak and we can't take him seriously ever again thing that they keep doing on Raw. Because I do feel like this is going somewhere. It is definitely affecting his character in a way that makes me more interested in seeing it. I am actually really looking forward to seeing Breeze and Apollo Crews because that's going to be a really good match.
Now, in other news, Kana, now known as, am I saying this right, Asuka?
Yes, Asuka.
Asuka is she made her debut on NXT and is apparently starting a feud with Dana Brooke and Emma.
Yeah, that was a stupid segment.
Yeah, it seemed to fall a little flat. I mean, I understand that when Asuka turned back to the heel women and was grinning at them, that it's clear that she's not just running away, but it really felt like that for too long.
Yeah, it went on a little too long. I've started watching some of Kana's matches to kind of scout her out when I heard that they were signing her. She is a beast.
Is she?
Yes. All right. She has some of the nastiest kicks I've seen since Tajiri. She does straight up buzzsaw kicks and all that.
That's great. Everyone's all on the main roster.
Yeah.
Do you think that the NXT Women's Division, they've brought in enough people to replace what they've lost in the past couple months?
I think that's what they're working on right now. I mean, with everyone going up to Raw, they need more legit talent, and Asuka is definitely one of them. She does a lot of submissions. I think her main finish is basically a Taz mission, where she does the Kata Katame chokehold with the spine lock.
Okay. So it's the same thing that Samoa Joe does.
Not quite. I mean, it's similar, but it's not the exact same hold.
Just like a rear naked choke.
More, it's a rear naked choke where they also hook the arm.
Well, yeah, no, I know what you're talking about. I'm saying, isn't that what Samoa Joe does? Though?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Are they doing anything with Emma right now?
She is Dana Brooke's assistant, basically.
Yeah, they're like
Wow.
they're like evil henchmen.
Oh, okay.
But
I was
yeah,
gonna say she wasn't. She should just go back to NXT because
Yeah.
they completely ruined her for no reason.
yeah, they did. Some of Asuka's other stuff she does like an ankle pick, like a full-on Kurt Angle style. And she does an alternate of it where instead of like dropping you down into the ankle lock, she'll pull you in. So like you're standing in front of her with like one leg like tucked behind your back, and then she'll straight up German suplex you. It's disgusting.
So like a leg trap German.
Yeah. And I mean, over in Japan, like maybe like okay, 3/4 of her matches are against women, but she convincingly wrestles and beats guys too.
But then again, so did that 6-year-old girl in Japan.
I don't know if convincingly applies.
Yeah,
I
like-
was convinced.
This is one of those like for Asuka, I really hope they break the no intergender matches rules because I mean most like divas in WWE are built to look good on TV. They're very attractive. And, obviously they're very athletic so they can wrestle, but they don't look like they could actually deal damage to a much larger person. Kana, or, Asuka, is built like a tank. Like, she is built for war. And I would absolutely believe her holding her own against, against male and female opponents.
I do have a little problem with them bringing in these new women in the NXT women's division, though, because really I was looking forward to the whole thing revolving around Dana Brooke and Eva Marie for a few months.
You cannot possibly be serious.
Thankfully, I am not possibly serious.
Okay, good.
And in other NXT news, the Vaudevillains successfully retained the Tag Team Championships against Blake and Murphy after an assist from Blue Pants when she chased away Alexa Bliss. Now, is there anything left for Blake and Murphy to do?
Apart from get an actual tag team name,
I mean, I kind of expected that they were going to lose their rematch but stay in the Tag Team Classic, but they were eliminated from the Classic in the first round.
I don't know. I feel like they can basically just go up to Raw now. I mean, they're never going to set the world on fire, but they work really well as a tag team.
They do.
And God knows the main roster could use some solid tag teams.
It's odd they went through their entire title reign without really having a character.
Yeah, and now that they finally kind of have one with, like, or at least having Alexa Bliss add personality to them, now they're out of the title picture.
Weren't Otunga and McGillicuddy the tag team champions for a while?
Yep.
Oh, one
I remember
point.
they had no character at all when they were champions. Have I just dredged up some painful memories for everybody here?
Mm.
Remembering that those two guys
So-
were the pinnacle of the tag division at one point.
That was in the Nexus, right?
That was after the Nexus, when they had that god-awful music that didn't sound like a wrestling theme at all.
I'm vaguely remembering this.
Maybe you blocked it out and you shouldn't be accessing those memory vaults.
I don't know. I think
Alright,
that was during the period where I wasn't really watching.
It was bad.
You were talking about the We Are One theme, are you? Because that
No.
that theme was awesome.
It was awesome.
It was way after that.
Okay.
On the subject of the same match, I am really liking the Vaudevillains. Like, not just their gimmick, but like their in-ring work has become like extremely good.
Especially Simon Gotch's legs.
Yeah, where he's doing that like those like almost like Bruce Lee kicks, where he's like wrapping his leg around the guy's arm and then roundhouse kicking him in the face.
It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, like Simon Gotch.
I have to take another look at those beauties after Poit's recommendation.
Yeah. Well, like Gotch is like
God.
becoming probably the best striker on the show, and I swear to God, like, you know how in like the Justice League comics they have like Earth 2, where they've got like the Justice League from the 1940s.
Yeah.
Aiden English is the Earth 2 Cesaro.
Yeah, okay.
Like, shave his like old-timey facial hair and tell me he's not Cesaro.
No, he is.
So are you saying that Simon Gotch is the best pure striker in NXT?
Yes.
Does
Sadly, he doesn't have some soup bones to back it up.
does that only count because Tommy is out?
For now, yes. Once Hideo Itami comes back and starts kicking people's skulls in, then we'll see.
Well, hopefully he doesn't quite do that.
When is he supposed to be back? Because he's been gone for quite a while. I knew it was like 6 days. But
I've heard it's going to be like between December and January.
Is that about when Sami Zayn is due back?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Gonna come back at the calling that right now.
Maybe
Yeah,
Sami
I
Zayn
imagine
could
Zayn's
enter the
gonna
Royal
be
Rumble
like-
and throw out Kevin Owens.
Yeah.
Mm.
That would be fun.
Which I'm down for. I would love to see Zayn and Owens go at it at WrestleMania.
That would be huge.
That has to happen. I feel like it does.
Or they could
Especially,
just throw them into a ladder match with the 10 other people.
Yeah, I mean,
That's what's most
they
likely.
might give it like 3 minutes to make room for whatever shitty musical guest they have this year.
What
Or they
would
could
you
make them a
guys
tag team.
think?
WWE's favorite band, Limp Bizkit.
Yeah. It's like, sorry guys, I mean, we know that you've had this feud that's been going on for like 10 years across like 7 or 8 different promotions, but we really needed to give this time to Florida Georgia Line.
Which of these scenarios would you guys think is better? An NXT TakeOver special the day before WrestleMania, or an NXT Championship match at WrestleMania?
Championship match on the card.
I wouldn't want the championship match on the card because it would outshine everything else on the card.
Well, you don't want it because it would be good?
Well, from a business standpoint, it might be bad that they're outshining everything else, but from a fan point of view, then that would
From
be
a
nice
business
for us.
standpoint, I would say it would be good because, fans would be like, holy shit, these NXT guys are great. I'm going to go pay for the network so I can watch them.
Or they'd say, Mom, why can't John Cena do those moves? Shut up, Timmy.
Oh, he'll try. He'll break his neck, but he'll try and do it.
All right, well, that is all I have for NXT for the week.
Have we finished off the pie? No crumbs left at all?
Just when I thought we had gone through an entire episode analogy-free.
Nope. So, Mr. Poit. Now, normally I would tell you to head on over to the social media lounge, but I don't know what that's going to entail on a live broadcast. I'm assuming you're just going to kind of slouch a bit.
I'm already as far back as my chair goes.
We should have had him.
Well, can you possibly lounge a little bit more?
Oh, I can put my armrests down.
Phase
Oh, yeah.
into your
Yeah, there you go.
your social media mind space.
All right. I'm ready. As always, I would like to do a quick shout-out to our friends over at the Game Buoy video game podcast, your stop for left of center gaming news and views, and we invite you to give us your thoughts. Suggest talking points of your own and tell us what you thought of the week in wrestling by tweeting at us at Tables Ladders or by replying to our posts on Facebook. We also ask that you follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook and share our posts, rate us, and subscribe on iTunes and shop on Amazon.com using our affiliate link. All of these links can be found on our Podbean page, tablesladderspodcast.podbean.com.
They certainly can. And before we go, I'm going to hand it over to our live audience because Owen Brown has left another comment. He says, musical guests should be boycotted. So,
How does that work? How do you
Yeah.
boycott a specific segment?
does that mean that the entire audience should turn off during the musical guest, or should we just not buy tickets if there's a musical guest advertised?
If you,
Like,
I don't know, you
do
make
I-
like a point of it where like everyone turns their back on it or something.
Do I unsubscribe from the network for 3 minutes?
All
I've
right.
done it.
As soon as CeeLo comes on stage, we're all leaving the arena.
Oh, god damn.
Well,
Alright, well-
it was nice to have the old Narkster out of his tank once again.
Yeah, we'll see you again, like, next year?
Whoa, good God.
Hey, if we did it around this time, I'm sure we probably could be around more.
By
Well-
the way, why did you guys post the time for this in Central Time? I didn't even know that existed.
What?
He's not aware of time change. Sorry. They don't teach that up in Rock.
Well, on that note, I think there's only one thing left to say.
There certainly is, folks. TLP, everybody.
TLP, everybody.
TLP, everybody.
TLP, everybody.
TLP, everybody.